Thank you very much. Next, I would like to introduce Supervisor John Avalos, District 11 Supervisor of San Francisco. And I want to say real quick, pay attention to the politicians that turn up to events like this, because these are the ones that are actually standing with the people. We invited the chief of police to come here today. Do you see him anywhere?
No!
We invited the police commission to turn up today. Do you see them anywhere?
No!
Do you see the new mayor anywhere?
No!
Okay, but I do see a couple supervisors who've come out to stand with the people against police violence. And Supervisor John Avalos, thank you very much for being one of those.
So I want to thank everyone for coming out here today, for bearing witness to our anger and our frustration with the police department. How can a man who is in a wheelchair be shot by the police, even if he has a knife? That is ridiculous that we don't have policies in place that can help those things from ever happening. We have the Police Crisis Training Institute that was cut. Funding was cut to do proper training for the police department to prevent those kind of police officer shootings that happened last week and the week before. This is San Francisco. We need to make sure our anger is voiced, our concern is voiced, that we cannot have this kind of tyranny happen in our streets ever again. And I'm so sorry that I was not around last week to really talk about this the way it needed to be talked about. As an elected official who has oversight over our city departments, I had a responsibility to be here to voice my frustration, my concern, my anger, my outrage at what happened, and I was not able to do that because we were having that whole discussion about the mayor. But I was so infuriated. I was so infuriated to see, instead of there being an appropriate response from the police department about contrition, about sorrow that this had happened, and they're out promoting tasers as a response to what happened. Instead of having appropriate contrition, there was discussion about how we can turn this into a political advantage so we can promote tasers in our cops. That's not how we should be doing our business. We should be saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. We have to look at what our training is like. We have to make sure that our officers are doing everything they can not to use their guns, not even to get to that point. They have other tools in their arsenal, other tools in their resources to make sure that they have to use before they use the most excessive force as they can. So I commit myself to work with my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors to make sure that we can push them to the most we can to use the least amount of force possible to protect people, especially people with disabilities and people who have mental health crises in San Francisco. Thank you.
Thank you, John Avalos, Supervisor Avalos, San Francisco City Hall, Martin Luther King Day, 2011.
Okay, I'd like to introduce the one other city supervisor that has turned up for this rally.